Hello everyone. In this video, I will discuss about the unbalanced condition of strain gauge Wheatstone bridge circuits. So, the unbalanced mode is also known as deflection mode. Mode or unbalanced condition. So, it is three cases. First one is quarter bridge. Second one is half bridge. Third one is full bridge. So, in case of quarter bridge, we use one strain gauge circuit in one of the arms of Wheatstone bridge. In case of half bridge, we use two strain gauge in series in the two arms of Wheatstone bridge. In case of full bridge, we use four strain gauge in the four arms of Wheatstone bridge. So first we will discuss about the quarter bridge condition. So in case of quarter bridge condition, we use only one strain gauge. So this is the strain gauge resistance and others are the Wheatstone bridge resistances. So this is R2, this is R3, let this is R4, and let the junctions are A, B, C and D. So the galvanometer is connected between B and D, and the supply voltage is connected between A and C. So this is the supply voltage. So in case of unbalanced condition, what we do, we use all the resistors as fixed resistors. So in case of balanced condition, we have used a variable resistor here. So this variable resistor was changing its resistance so that the voltage difference across B and D is 0, so that the galvanometer will show a 0 reading. But in case of unbalanced condition, instead of using a variable resistor, we use a fixed resistor. So when this is the unstrained resistance, so when we'll apply some load to the strain gauge, the strain gauge will subject it to some strain. So in this case, its resistance will change. So new resistance is let R1 plus delta R1. So this is the new resistance. In the earlier case, this R4 was changing. This R4 was changing to maintain this ratio, so that the voltage difference between the B and D is 0, but here the R4 cannot change, so there will be a voltage difference. So now the circuit is unbalanced. So this galvanometer will show a change in voltage between B and D. So we have to calculate the voltage. So here we have connected the supply voltage between A and C. So the current will flow. So AB and AD are connected in parallel. So suppose I1 current is flowing through AB. So I2 current will flow through AD. So we have assumed that the galvanometer has infinite impedance. So if in impedance is the sum of resistance and reactance. So I have already told you that thing. So if impedance is infinite, that means your resistance is infinite. So from the Ohm's law, V equal to IR. So current is inversely proportional to your resistance. So when your resistance is infinite, that means your current is 0. So we are assuming that this galvanometer is not drawing any current. So current is 0 here. It is no current is flowing through this galvanometer. So whatever current will flow through this AB, that current will flow through BC, because they are connected in series. AB and BC are connected in series and galvanometer is not drawing any current. So the current flowing through BC is also I1. Similarly, suppose this is also connected in series AD and DC. So suppose I2 current is flowing through AD, then if it is not drawing any current, I equal to 0, that means I2 current will also flow through DC. So how we'll calculate the I1 value? I1 is V supply by net resistance. So net resistance here, after we provided some strain, the new resistance is R1 plus delta R, but here it is a fixed resistor, so its resistance will remain same as R4. So net resistance is R1 plus delta R1 plus R4. This is the I1 value. V by R, R is the net resistance, as they are connected in series. Net resistance is the sum of the resistances. Similarly, what is I2? I2 is V supply divided by net resistance. I2 is flowing through AD and DC, so net resistance is, that is through R2 and R3, so they are in series, so net resistance is R2 plus R3. So I2 is V supply divided by R2 plus R3. So the galvanometer reading, that is the difference in voltage, that is equal to VAB minus VAD. So what is VAB? V voltage across AB equal to current across AB into resistance across AB. So new resistance is R1 plus delta R1, current is I1. So voltage across AB is I1 into R1 plus delta R1. So I1 value we have calculated. I1 is V supply divided by R1 plus delta R1 plus R4. So in place of I1 we will put it as V supply divided by R1 plus delta R1 plus R4. So VAB equal to I1 into R1 plus delta R1. Similarly, what is VAD? VAD is I2 into R2. Current across AD is I2 and resistance is R2. So I2 into R2. So in place of I2, we will put V supply divided by R2 plus R3. So VAD equal to V supply divided by R2 plus R3 into your R2. So dV0 is VAB minus VAD. So that is equal to V supply divided by R1 plus delta R1 plus R4 into R1 plus delta R1 minus V supply into R2 divided by R2 plus R3. So if we will take V supply as common, then that will be R1 plus delta R1 divided by R1 plus delta R1 plus R4 minus R2 divided by R2 plus R3. So we have assumed that initially unstrained resistance, that is R1, that is equal to R2 plus equal to R3 equal to R4. So that is equal to, let R. So what will be this dV0 value? So dV0 value equal to V supply into, this is your R plus delta R divided by R plus delta R minus your R divided by R plus R. So what is R plus delta? So V supply into R plus delta R divided by 2R plus delta R minus R by 2R is half. So if we will solve this, then in the denominator 2 into 2R plus delta R. So 2 will be multiplied in that side. So 2 into R plus delta R, and 2R plus delta R will be multiplied with 1. So minus 2R plus delta R. So V supply into 2R plus 2 delta R minus 2R minus delta R divided by 4R plus 2 delta R. So that is equal to V supply into, this is 2R minus 2R will be cancelled. 2 delta R minus delta R will be delta R divided by 4R plus 2 delta R into Vs. Yeah. So that is equal to V supply divided by delta R into, if we'll take 2 as common, 2r plus delta r. So this delta r value is very small compared to r. So if we'll add any small quantity with a large quantity, then there will be no significant changes. So suppose this delta r value is 0.000 something and this r value is 200. So 200 plus 0.000 something. So that value is 200.000 something. So this is nearly negligible. So if we will neglect delta r value, then there will be no significant changes. So to simplify this equation, as delta r is very small compared to r, so we have neglected this value. So this is, we have taken as 0. So if when we have neglected this delta r value, so the new equation will be, so dV0 equal to V supply into delta r divided by your 4r. So what is delta r by r? Gauss vector is your delta r divided by r divided by your strain. So delta r by r is your Gauss vector, it will go to that side, then it will be multiplied. So Gauss vector into strain. So dV0 equal to V supply into Gauss vector. Instead of delta r by r, we will put this value. So this is Gauss vector into strain divided by 4. So this is the final equation. So from the galvanometer you can find out what is the change in voltage between B and D. So this value you can find out from the galvanometer. Supply voltage, you know what voltage you supplied. So Gauss vector, while purchasing the strain gauge, the Gauss vector is mentioned. So from here you can calculate the strain value, and from the strain value, Young's modulus of elasticity is stress by strain. So from here you can calculate the stress value, and stress equal to force by area. So from here you can calculate the force value. So main purpose of strain gauge is to measure the force. So from the galvanometer reading you can find out the voltage difference, that is dV0. Supply voltage, you know, Gauss vector you can find out from the strain gauge sensitivity, that you can find out, that is mentioned while purchasing the strain gauge, and from here you can calculate the strain, and from the strain you can ultimately find out the force value.